Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Demetrius here again from OBPixel. Today I won't be talking to you about anything to do with one of my brands, but I'm going to be discussing something that's pretty interesting to me. In the last 50 days, I have lost 50 pounds. And for those of you working on the metric system, that's close to 24 kilograms. Well, 23 kilograms. If you want to know how I've done that, stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. Let me give you a bit of a rundown as to what's happened. Around 50 days ago, I actually had an accident with my hand. I burnt my hand. Now, if you want to see the original photographs, they're in the description because they're a little bit too gory for YouTube to like when it comes into a video. But you can look at the details. If you see the images in the description, you can click on the links and you'll be able to look at the photographs. And you'll see the progression of the photos right through the 50 days of recovery. I mean, at the moment I can show you this because it's not too bad. It's pretty decent at the moment. But you want to see what it looked like in the beginning. Anyway, I digress. The important thing is how I managed to lose 50 pounds or 23 kilograms in 50 days at the age of 50. Yes, I am 50 years old. I was born on 27th of October 1973. I'll tell you, while I was having a downtime and I was going through excruciating pain, and I mean really excruciating pain when it comes to burning of the hand, it was a first-degree burn, pretty bad. And the doctors at Cardiff University in Wales, nearby where I live, were at the university hospital. They were really concerned about me losing nerve feeling in my hand. Luckily, it was my left hand as well. Anyway, long story short, I went through the process of recovery, but I was going through a lot of pain for the first 4 weeks. Okay? While I was having downtime, and I wasn't able to work then, I was not able to work. I had to cancel about 50 days of work for me, which is a lot. It is a lot of work for me, and I didn't want to do it, but unfortunately, I was just not able to be productive. Some of the work did shift over, which is fine, but I did lose a lot of money. But that's fine, because I have my health. So how did I do all this? Well, I was trolling YouTube, as everyone does. Today's television is terrible. There are no good shows on TV. There's terrible movies. Disney and all the companies like Paramount and Sony and all them, they're making terrible films. And I mean really bad films. Not from the perspective of, not entertaining per such, but just exceptionally bad writing. And I wasn't really interested in dwelling into, watching a TV series or anything like that. So I dove straight into YouTube. And YouTube is a treasure trove. And that's why I love using it, and I will continue using it. And just out of the blue, I came across two channels, and they blew my mind initially by the fact that it was so ludicrous what they were talking about. I came across a channel called Dr. Chaffee. I think he's Australian. And his insights into how the body works really flipped over all my knowledge that I've learned over the many, many years I've been on this planet, the 50 years I've been on this planet. In addition to that, I met on YouTube a number of people that were going through this process. And I also met a doctor called Dr. Berry. And again, my mind was blown, and I'm a very big skeptical person. I question everything. That's my remit in life. I like to learn every single day, but I don't just assume anything. I like to really dig in and investigate myself, because I'm a security investigator as well. So I wasn't having it. I wasn't pleased. And then I came across another channel which is very dear to my heart. His name is Kerry, and it's a channel called Homestead. And that's when it blew the lid off my head. So what is this all about? Well, this is about the carnivore diet, but very specifically the lion diet, which is what I've been on. So, it is a little extreme, but let me explain to you my roadmap. Let me tell you what's happened. In the beginning, when I was watching those channels, I was truly confused, because what we've been told in the industry today, in many respects, is a lie. Now, doctors as well, the best that they can do is try and prescribe medication for illnesses and chronic illnesses, specifically those things that take over a long period of time. And they sometimes have no choice, because a lot of the times, medical environments are pretty much funded by the medical industry when it comes to making medications and so on. So even they are shackled when it comes to what they can do. So I don't blame any doctors. I just think that the educational system in the world is wrong. Okay, and a lot of the surveys and the white papers and the findings and the experiments that they've done were all really not objective, and it's been debunked already that a lot of what we call the standard diet, or the American diet, or the Western diet, is actually being debunked at the moment, because the investigations and the reviews and the whole process behind it was funded by pharmaceutical companies, which of course is exceptionally biased, okay, and an outright lie. But again, I digress. Let me explain to you what I did. I went through all these channels, and I was like really confused. So I thought, nah, man, I'm very skeptical. There's no way that this is real. There's no way that someone can just eat meat, the carnivore diet, which was, meat, butter, salt, chicken, fish, anything pretty much animal based, and to avoid carbs completely. In other words, no vegetables, no fruits, no sodas, nothing like that. I was like, part of me understood what they meant, but the other part was like, there's no way, absolutely no way that this stuff works. And I kept on going through videos after videos after videos. I must have seen at least 1,000 videos in those 4 weeks, and it blew my mind. But what happened was, in the first week when I was recovering from my burnt hand, I said to myself, I'm not looking well. And as you can see from the thumbnail, those are my actual photos. The first photo on the left-hand side was actually taken by a customer of mine who I work with in Netherlands. It's a company called Startel. You can call them up and you can ask them. The photograph's real. And the photograph on the right-hand side of my thumbnail is actually a photo I just took with my phone. Okay? Literally yesterday, which was my 50th day doing this diet. And on the first week, I thought to myself, what am I going to do with this hand, which is killing me, right? I'm in serious trouble here. I have to give up months and months and months of work. And my doctors initially told me that I would need 3 months recovery. And I was like, 3 minimum months recovery, and then probably another 2 months after that rehabilitation on my hand. I was like, how's it possible, right? It's it was a pretty bad burn, and you'll see from the photos if you're interested. But I was like, it's going to take that long? I thought, no. What am I going to do as food intake while I'm at home to give myself the best possible chance to recovering? So I went through all these videos, and I was like, okay, Kerry from Homestead, who's now working on a documentary called Healing Humanity, he convinced me. So I decided to jump in. Very skeptical, and I'm being serious here. I was exceptionally skeptical, and I know I wasn't just skeptical because, okay, this knowledge is turning the entire food triangle upside down. Carbs are bad, sugar is bad. It's turning everything upside down. And at the same time, if I had to tell anybody during this process, during my first 50 days that I was doing this, I'd sound like a crazy person. In fact, if I was saying that in the beginning, I'd probably be put in a straitjacket. Currently, my own family and my friends, they don't want to believe what I'm doing. In fact, many people that I speak to and ask me, what have you done? What have you done? And I tell them, they just don't believe me, and they constantly give me the lectures that really are just stupid lectures. Okay? So, my process was this. I went into the carnivore diet. However, I took the approach of going all in because I'm the kind of person that doesn't just do, half measure. No. If I'm going to do something, I go all the way. So I chose the extreme version of the carnivore diet and I went the lion diet. So instead of having meat, butter, eggs, fish, chicken, all that kind of stuff, I literally got rid of everything. In the first week, I went straight into the lion diet. So it's just meat and salt and water. 3 ingredients. Now you're going to say to yourself, well, goodness gracious me, that's boring. That's exactly what I thought. I thought this would be seriously boring. And I'm like, I used to love my fruits and love my vegetables, especially my fruits. And I'd love my tomatoes and I'd love the cheese and all that kind of stuff. And I loved eggs and all that. And I was like, my goodness, well, I've got this burn and I have to deal with this burn, right? So you're going to make sacrifices. So the first week that I tried this, immediately within the first 3 days of just eating steak, and by the way, I went all out and I decided to go ribeye steaks all the way. I didn't play games. I have a Costco near me and it was fantastic because whenever you go and you buy big sort of pieces, massive pieces of sort of ribeye, and then you can cut it yourself, you're actually going to pay less than half the price than what you would in a supermarket. Just so you know, that's an interesting thing that many people don't know. And I could then cut the steaks to the thickness I like. Of course, the problem was I had a burnt hand, and there was no way that I could cook with one hand. And I wasn't going to use a pan or any kind of wok or anything else, so I bought myself an air fryer. So I'm now going to try and learn how to make steaks in an air fryer. That's a long story. It took me a while to get to grips with it, and I had, in the beginning, a few terrible steaks. But it doesn't matter, it was steaks. So what happened to me during this process? So stage 1, I took the plunge in. I decided to make the decision. That's my stage 1. And really, let's call it phases because I went through those phases. So phase 1, I decided to make a change. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is I started and saying to myself, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 week and let's just see how it goes. Let's also see how the hand heals during this process. And if I have to go back to carbs, then I'll go back to carbs. I tried it for the first week. And within the first 3 days, I was starting to feel fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I was waking up better. I was sleeping better. My hand was recovering a little faster than I expected, but I wasn't sure about it because it was seriously well bandaged, so I couldn't see. And I had to wait for 3 days before I would go back and I would redress, because the process of redressing the wound was every second to third day for 5 weeks. So I would know within 3 days how I would feel. And that day when I woke up on the third day, after eating for 3 days meat, I went into the hospitals. They took out the dressing, they redressed it again, and the doctors immediately said to me, wow, you're healing really fast. I was like, what do you mean? So I was taking photos, by the way, the before and after for everything. You can see those photos. You can see them in the description. I've got a full-blown folder that you can look up online and you can see all the photos. You want to see the progression. I think I've got well over 140 photographs there, all taken with a phone. Obviously, I wasn't able to take a camera with me, so just so you can see the progression of time. Anyway, and I was like, okay, I was pretty happy about that, but I didn't say anything to the doctors of what I was eating. But the doctors just came to me and said to me, look, just continue what you're doing. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. The next 3 days, I continued to eat steak, and in the beginning, by the way, I was feeling ravenous. I was seriously eating 3 meals a day. And I was dropping those steaks, like 3 ribeye steaks a day. Okay, they were not very large ribeyes, but they were pretty decent. They were, 250 grams to 300 grams easy. So I was dropping 3 steaks at a time, right? Because the funny thing is that I didn't realize my body was craving the carbs and it needed to get energy. Anyway, so the phase 2 was getting through the first week. And again, my hand was healing nicely. I went back for a second redressing during that week into Cardiff Hospital, and they looked at it and they said, yeah, carry on doing. It's really impressive. It's moving. It's healing. Everything's good. But by that time, my hand was bleeding, and it, because obviously in the beginning you don't notice that, but after a while, your hand from a burn will crack and it'll bleed, and of course the skin needs to start replenishing itself, and all the white and blood cells will need to start working together to start healing, but at the same time your skin will peel. But that takes a little bit of time to happen. Anyway, phase 2 was getting through the first week. Phase 2 kicks in second week. Oh my goodness gracious me. Following all those videos on YouTube, I also listen to a lot of the people on YouTube that are going through the carnivore diet and a lion diet. Especially, people that have had a really tough time, that have been people like vegetarians, or they've been pescatarians or vegans, and they've had to do a transition across to becoming meat eaters. And they've had a very difficult time in the beginning, apparently, for detoxing their bodies and going through the changes of throwing out all the oxalates out of their body and how their body reacted. And I did get, 100% honest, I did become sick, but I started having flu symptoms for the next 2 weeks. So the first week I felt fantastic. Phase 2, I started feeling absolutely terrible. But I knew it wasn't a flu because, you remember, I'm going into the doctors every 3 days to redress my dressing on my burnt hand. And they were telling me, yeah, I'm improving in the hand. And they were analyzing me to see with the flu symptoms and whatever. And they were saying to me, you don't have flu. And they analyzed me, quite a few, like 3 different doctors analyzed me in Cardiff University Hospital. And they said, no, you don't have flu-like symptoms. Are you doing some form of detoxing? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to, deal with my body at the moment, and I'm trying to give it nutrients so that I can heal quickly. Just continue. You'll get through the detoxing and the pushing of the oxalates. That was the first time I ever heard of the word oxalates. And I'm a very well-educated person, and I had never heard of that word, but I've finally realized what the word is, which is basically detoxing on your body. And they said, okay, continue doing. So that was my phase 3. And then within the 2 weeks, so in other words, 3 weeks later, after I started the lion diet, because I went all in, I went extreme. I woke up one morning on the 4th week, the day I was going to go and do a redressing, which was a Monday, and I'll never forget it. And I woke up feeling like $1 million. I haven't felt like that in a very long time. You must understand something about me. Even though I still have a lot of weight to lose right now, and I do. When I was 18 and 19 years old and 20 and 21, I was living in South Africa at the time. I was a Latin American dance champion. It's in the records. And I was exceptionally fit. And at that time, when I was a dancer, I did only eat meat. Surprisingly, when I think back now to my younger days, 30 years ago, okay, because I'm 50 now, I truly was a 100% prolific, not 100%, but I was a prolific meat eater. I used to love my fruits. Wasn't very big in vegetables, but I used to love my fruits. Growing up in South Africa and Durban, you have beautiful fruits. And I used to love my meat, because South Africa has the best meat in the world, okay? Undoubtedly. And I was like, gosh, and I was thinking back now, yesterday, I was thinking, my goodness gracious me, when I was younger, I was eating meat regularly, like every day. And I was fit as well. So, on that 4th week, when I woke up in the morning and I was about to go and do a redressing, I realized, God, I feel light and I feel better and I feel fantastic. But I felt light in weight, and I was like, that's strange, I feel better. I put on my clothes were falling. I was like, they were falling off, my trousers fell off. I'm like, what? Is the elastic gone, or is the cord missing in the trousers, or can I put another trouser on that's got a belt on? And I put my other jeans on as well. I tried my tracksuit, I tried my jeans. I'm like, why does it all feel bigger? It doesn't make any sense. Am I in the twilight zone? Have I woken up? So I literally slapped myself. I was like, there's something going on here. Anyway, put that aside. I wasn't really perturbed about weight loss, and I went to go and do the redressing. Okay, and this is 4 weeks later, after my initial burn, and 4 weeks into the lion diet. So it was a pretty tough time during those 4 weeks to get through and not want vegetables, not want fruits. Yes, it wasn't easy. I mean, in the world, all humans are addicted to sugar, whether you like it or not. You're addicted as a kid, to carbohydrates and sugar, and you don't even realize it. And your body doesn't want to get rid of them because you're addicted. Okay, it is the biggest addiction in the world, worse than drugs, worse than alcohol. Trust me on this. I feel it today. Now, during those 4 weeks, just as I woke up in the morning, I went to do the redressing. And this time I wasn't at the university hospital in Cardiff, because I live in Barry, which is near the beach. So I went to the Barry clinic over here because I didn't need to go to doctors anymore. They were pretty happy with the progress. And I spoke to the nurses there. And that was the first time I saw one of the nurses. Her name is Amanda. And she looked at the original photographs and she looked at what it was when I was 4 weeks. And she goes, wow, you're recovering really quickly. What are you doing? So I was like, I don't know if I should tell you, because I was going to have to tell another person. They're going to think I'm crazy, Anyway, I told Amanda and she was 100% not surprised. She goes, yep, makes a lot of sense. My husband is a carnivore and I'm trying to be my own myself. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious me. After meeting how many people along the way in the last 4 weeks and then not being able to tell somebody that I was doing something like this was not easy. And now this person, this wonderful nurse at Barry Medical Clinic, Amanda, was telling me that I was doing the right thing. That was the next reassurance that I needed. That was phase 3 for me. Phase 3 for me was, yep, I'm on the right track. Anyway, leaving the clinic, I said to myself, you know what, let me weigh myself. They've got an industrial scale there, let me weigh myself. So I weighed myself and I was like, whoa, okay. I mean, I've just lost 7 kilograms. I don't remember what that is in pounds. You can calculate that. So I was like, and I think that's 1 stone in the UK. Can't remember now. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. I've been eating a ton of meat. I've been drinking a hell of a lot of water. And that's another thing. I really uptaked my water. Even though I used to drink a lot of water as an instructor, as a teacher, as a consultant, I would do a minimum of 2 liters a day. Today, I'm on close to 4.5 to maybe even 5 liters a day. I'm doing really a hell of a lot of water. It may be too much, I don't know, but I'm thirsty. So I weighed myself and I was really surprised. I went back and I said, okay, let's get into phase 3, which is really push this. And the funny thing is, on that 4th week, I started to realize that I didn't have to eat 3 times a day. So that was the new revelation for me. I started to realize, hey, I can do with 2 meals a day. And I started to get into intermittent fasting in a way, because my last meal would be, well, my first meal was say mid-morning to lunchtime, and then the second meal was just before afternoon, which is around 5 o'clock. So I wouldn't eat anything after 5 o'clock, and then the rest of the evening, all the way right through to around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't need to eat. And the funny thing is, I would go through that fasting cycle not too fast, but I just wasn't feel hungry. I continued watching Dr. Berry's videos on YouTube and Dr. Chaffee and Carey, and they were mentioning, and many others, and they were mentioning in their videos that we should uptake our fat that we eat, animal fat, because we're going to need to get energy from somewhere, and we don't want to go and put carbs in our system, because if we don't, we're going to have problems with constipation, and because when you're eating meat and only meat, you're going to get 100% of the nutrients of that meat in your body, and you're not going to discard anything. So in the beginning, like the first 3 weeks, I noticed that I wasn't going as often to the loo as I should have. I wasn't as regular, but in the 4th week to the 5th week, it was starting to improve. And really, it only improved because when I listened to those videos, those guys on the videos, they said, oh, uptake your fat. So I started increasing the amount of fat that I have inside my meat. And I was looking for better ribeye steaks. I was using beef tallow, which is a beautiful thing to have, and butter, of course. And as soon as I started increasing the uptake of fat, I felt even better during the days, and I was 100% regular, almost twice a day, going to the toilet. But at the same time, I was getting all the nutrients. In the meantime, I got to the 5th week, and that was stage 4 for me. And when I went for the unwrapping of my hand, because I was doing 2 unwraps now instead of 3 unwraps a week, That unwrap on the 5th week, I'll never forget it because I went to the clinic. It was a different nurse. She was a lovely little nurse, short little lady, fantastic attitude. If I remember, her name is Carice, and God, she blew me away with her disposition, her ability to just make everyone laugh. And she saw me recovering. She had an entire history of everything, all the photographs as well as a nurse. And she looked at when she undressed the hand, and then she realized, you know what, we don't have to clean it today because look, your hand is peeling, and now the skin underneath is now formed, and it's just scabbing. And I was like, wow. She says, you've recovered faster than I've seen any other person recover in the history that I've been in this clinic, and that is the last 25 years, she goes. I was like, okay, that's great news, right? She says, this is phenomenal news. The projected recovery for you, which was originally 6 months, is going to be roughly 2 months if it continues this way. I was like, wow, I'm going to gain 4 months out of this. She says, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. I didn't tell her what I was doing. Anyway, moved on to the 6th week. And this was getting interesting now because I was now doing experimentation. I needed to find out, would my body still crave the carbs, the vegetables, the fruits? So I was going into the supermarkets and going past the aisles and looking at the vegetables and trying to put them to my face and smell them, and going to the fruits and go up near them and smell them and see what happens. And I kid you not, I'm not joking. For the life of me, I swear, I would walk next to a vegetable and I would put it near me, and my nose could smell the toxins. I know that sounds crazy, but it really is crazy to me, because I would look at a vegetable that I used to love, and all of a sudden I'm like detesting it. I hate the damn thing. I was like, what's going on here? Is that my nose going crazy? Has this lion diet destroyed my nose and I'm not able to sense correctly? Or is this stuff really bad? Is there some real toxins inside the vegetables? Then I would go to the fruits, and I was like, immediately, no, I don't want. And I knew that was the sugar. I knew straight away. By that time, I'd lost all my cravings, and I was hating the vegetables. I did more research online, and I went online and I looked up all the white papers and the write-ups in the States, in the UK, in Europe, and in Asia, and there were hundreds of papers, and I just had to blitz through the whole lot of them. I actually used artificial intelligence to help me get all that because it was just too much content. And the more I was digging into that information, the more I was seeing that in the world today, because of the bad production and cultivation that we have on the lands, we're not eating the way we used to eat. Like I'm certainly not able to have the vegetables that I want to have, that my grandparents were having many years ago, because we've not only destroyed our lands, but we've monocropped them. In other words, we've only created one crop the entire year, and the next year the same crop, and the next year the same crop, and then the soil loses its nutrients and loses all the minerals that it needs. So instead of constantly changing the crops and cultivating the ground, mankind is destroying crops. And worst of all, the worst thing I discovered was the amount of fertilizer that has been put into vegetables and fruits today, and how they ripen vegetables and fruits today, especially under the United States laws and the European laws, which are pathetically dangerous. Like I'm exceptionally angry with them because they're lying to the public, truly 100% lying. We need a billionaire really to launch a massive investigation against the food industry, because this is just ridiculous. Do you know how many animals die every single year because of these pesticides? Yes, I know we've got to protect our crops, but you can go and build crops using hydroponic systems rather than the soil, and you can actually make better crops. And I've actually studied some farms that are doing this, and they're amazingly tasty. At the time, I'm not doing vegetables anymore, but I studied this and I was like, wow. And I watched more videos, and I was insatiable with the content. And then I realized, okay, well, that's why my nose is not liking the vegetables and definitely not liking the fruits. But I was do I still have the craving? So I would go there and I'd see the fruits and I'd see the vegetables and I'd see the cheeses and whatever. And I kid you not, I don't have the cravings anymore. So a number of other things also changed. And this was phase 5, if I've got my phases right. I had a number of skin conditions. Over time, over many years, I developed a bit of fungus conditions here and there around my body, around my shoulders sometimes. It would have and come and go. It'll come and go every year. I would have fungus around my leg area, just below my thigh area. I would have an exceptionally dangerous thing, which was really bad for me. 3 months prior to me starting this, so roughly around November, December, January this year, just before I went over to South Africa to visit my mom, I was trying other diets because I wanted to lose weight and I wanted to get healthier, but I was trying a huge amount of carbs, as in like the vegetables. I was bumping up the vegetable intake. I was increasing my fruit intake because that's what the world tells you. That's what people tell you. That's what the government says to you, right? Says to you, don't eat red meat. It's bad for your cholesterol, bad for this. Eat vegetables, eat fruits. Absolute bollocks. Absolute trash. Absolute trash. And I'm not joking with you. And I'm very angry with it. With the notion that meat is bad, because it's definitely not. So let me explain. And I lost my skin conditions. Fast forward 50 days later. Well, let's look at phase 4 now. I lost all my skin conditions. I had a little bit of blood pressure. That's gone. I had cholesterol. I just tested my cholesterol. That's gone. And I mean very small amount of cholesterol. It wasn't major, but that's gone. About 3 months before I started this, I had all these problems. My eyesight started to go a little bit bad. Now, a little bit of context here. 28 years ago, I had LASIK surgery to correct my eyes so that I could not wear glasses or contact lenses anymore. And I've had no problems for 20 years after that, 20/20 vision. But last year, my vision started to go bad. And I wasn't seeing the same way as I used to see. And I was like, okay, God, I'm going to have to go back and retouch up my eyes. And in December last year, just before Christmas and January this year, I was really worried, and I planned and I booked my appointment. Okay, I'm going to go in and probably get a retouch up on my eyes and just see what happens. I kid you not, after this line diet, my eyesight's back, and I can actually see better than I used to, and I don't have the usual flares that I used to have when I drive at night, which I've had for the last 20 years. Because there are sometimes side effects after LASIK surgery. And I've had that side effect for 25 years or whatever. I can't remember exactly when I did my surgery, but it's a long time ago. And at night, I used to have a slight halo with some of the lights on the streets where we're driving. Even that has gone. It's disappeared. I've got brilliant vision today. And I was like, wow, that's insanely cool, right? That's something really amazing. Your eyesight can recover. Usually your eyesight gets damaged every 10 years. I was like, no, on my side it's reversing. I was like, okay, this is cool. The other thing that was truly amazing is for many years, I had very, very brittle nails, just because of the huge amount of vegetables and fruits I was taking in. The sugar intake was terrible. And yeah, I was addicted to sugar and I was addicted to carbs. Today, my nails are so strong. They are so strong that I was trying to cut my nails the other day, literally with the nail clippers, and the nail clipper broke, and it was a brand new nail clipper. Then I went and purchased another nail clipper, and that one also broke, and I was like, what's going on here? What am I? Wolverine? What's going on here? I was like, wow. So now I'm resorting to industrial scissors so I can actually cut my nails. Small ones, but really tough scissors. Little small details like that are very unusual for someone who's not used to that kind of thing. Anyway, and what else has changed? Well, at the age of 47, 48, many years ago, it's about 3 years ago, I was starting to feel the usual aches and pains when you get out of the car, when you get into the car. I would catch myself going, or when I was landing. And when you get up in the morning, I was like, making the growling noises, sometimes for no reason whatsoever. And I was always stiff and in pain and whatever. And I was trying to do some exercise, I was working out, whatever, but it wasn't helping. Fast forward into the time when I started doing this line diet. What can I tell you? Phase 5, if we're in the right phase. I don't know, I've lost my phases here. I don't have any of those aches and pains anymore. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, boom, I'm up, done. And I don't feel pain getting out of the bed. I can jump out. I don't have any dizziness. I don't have any pains or aches. I can bend down, bend over, legs, feet, whatever. I can twist, turn. I can get into my car and get out of my car without even feeling, without even flinching. I'm 50 years old. Okay? I would have expected that, considering that when I was younger, I used to be a rugby player, and I've had a number of rugby injuries when I was younger. And I mean rugby player as in I was exceptionally close to playing union rugby, international rugby. I just chose not to because I became a dancer. Well, I chose dancing over rugby because I was able to hold ladies in my hands, and that was more interesting for me. Right? An exceptionally beautiful woman as well, and very talented. So I was like, okay, so I don't have these aches and pains anymore. Now, in the process of all of this, I'm talking to my friends, I'm talking to family members, I'm communicating with, people that I know and people that I've met, and they just don't believe me. And I'm constantly like holding back and not trying to preach and say, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that, because that doesn't make any sense. It's not going to change you. What I make changes to won't change you. You've got to make the decisions for yourself. And when I meet people like vegans and vegetarians, look, I understand if people do that because they have a moral and a religious compass from that aspect. Look, I can understand that. That makes a lot of sense. But I can tell you right now that carbs, vegetables, genetically modified food won't help you as a vegan or a vegetarian, because it's going to go against your body. You're going to get frail, you're going to get weak, you're going to get bone structure changes, you're going to have problems with medical and things later in your life. You probably don't feel it now because you may be too young. You're not going to notice this until you get older. Trust me, I'm 50 and I noticed it straight away. As soon as I started to eat a huge amount of vegetables and fruits, I became a recluse. And I hate that because I don't like not being in control of what I'm doing. And as an instructor and a consultant, I'm always going up and down, traveling countries, meeting people all the time, walking, up and down, standing all the time. And I need to be as fit as I can. I'm also a digital photographer. I got to hold gear in my hands all the time. So it's like I got to keep fit, and I wasn't handling it. I wasn't handling it at least 50, 60 days ago. Phase 6. I went in for my last dressing of my hand about 3 weeks ago, and the nurses, Amanda and everybody else, when they looked at it, they were just blown away by the results. I was blown away as well. I was confused. I took some photos as well. I kept the whole process of the progress. She called in doctors. She called another doctor, one second doctor. I didn't need any dressings anymore. I could now shower with 2 hands. Do you know how hard it is to not be able to get into a shower or bath and clean yourself with 2 hands? I respect, 100% respect people with disabilities today who don't have a hand, only have one hand, don't have feet, don't have legs, are blind or deaf, all the disabilities. You know what? You're not disabled. Because what you're able to accomplish when you have those things taken away from you, all of you who have these disabilities have done exceptionally well to overcome your circumstances, and I bow down to you. I am in awe and utter respect for people who have gone through those difficulties in life, because I went through just 50 days of chaos with only one hand being a problem, not being able to use it to cook, to shower myself, to clean, to whatever, that I realized how important it is to overcome these things in life. I even started using a computer to start dictating to the machine instead of me typing, because I couldn't type for a long time, so I thought I'd lost my nerve endings. To that level. So you know what? To anyone who's disabled, you know what? Don't listen to people saying you're disabled, because you're not. Yes, you've got an issue you've got to deal with, but you're not, because you'll overcome it. Now, I no longer needed the dressing. Okay, back to this, because I digressed a bit. And I'm sorry this is a very long video, but I'm only making this video because I want to give out my story to people, not because I want you to change. No, because for me, it's been a dramatic change. And I have still a long way to go. And I can't believe at my results, because I was one of the biggest skeptics of all when it comes to the carnivore and the lion diet. I'm no longer that. So, yes, I no longer needed to redress. I could shower with 2 hands. Everything was great. Everything was fantastic. I was feeling amazing. But as soon as that happened, in that week, something else happened. I started to only eat once a day. I didn't need to eat 3 times a day. And I also noticed I had to change the patterns of my appetite, because my brain was telling me things in a different way. So now when I eat meat, I will eat as much meat as I can until I realize, I don't want to eat any more of that meat. That's your body telling you, hey, you know what? You're done for the day. I didn't realize that in the beginning until I watched more videos from Dr. Chaffee and Dr. Berry and also Kerry from Homestead. And then I was increasing my fat intake over and over and over. I'm doing a lot more fat intake now. So if I have like an entire steak, half of that steak is an extra amount of fat. It's just like, it's my energy source. And I was, the biggest misconception is this. Oh, you're going to eat fat, you're going to gain weight, and you're going to have cholesterol, and you're going to have bad things happening to you. Once again, absolute trash. Well, to me anyway. Because that fallacy is wrong. I mean, it didn't work for me. Increasing my fat intake made me lose weight, made me get better. I've had bloods taken, I've had cholesterol taken, I've had blood pressure taken. It's all gone. Everything's crazy operating at top condition. Now, the other thing that I noticed, the other things that have changed, skin is improving, elasticity in the body is improving. I've lost, 50 pounds in 50 days at the age of 50. That's why I made this video, because it's 50. It's a beautiful time to make the video. And at the same time, what's 50 pounds? That's 23, close to 24 kilograms. That's a lot for me. It's a lot. In only 50 days. So technically in 100 days, I would have lost another 50 pounds. So that's a total of 100 pounds if I'm going at the right trajectory that I am. Also, I'm no longer eating 3 times a day. Like I said to you, this is phase 6, I guess. Wow. I'm eating once a day and I'm satiated. I'm no longer needing to eat until the following day the same time. So what's happening every day now? 1, I'm back at work and I'm working, so I'm traveling, so that's not a problem anymore. 2, it's very tricky when I'm out to work finding the right food, but I'm basically finding restaurants with steaks, and if I don't do that, I take my own food with me, my own steaks that I've pre-prepared. 3, I eat once a day, roughly around 12 o'clock midday, and then I don't eat for the entire duration until the next day, 12 o'clock again. And you know what? I don't feel hungry. I don't feel like I need to binge on anything. I don't feel like having any carbs. Oh, I hate them. I hate carbs and sugar today. I have chocolate sitting here for my ex-girlfriend, because she's now an ex-girlfriend. She didn't want to stay with me because she's a vegetarian and she can't live like this. I don't understand how a woman can just not appreciate the man who just wants to take a slightly different road to her. Cool. You don't like the way I'm enjoying myself and getting healthier, even being healthier for you? Here's the door. So I told her to take a hike and a walk. I'm not interested in mentalities like that. I wasn't having a problem with her being vegetarian. I couldn't care less, right? It's her body. She wants to do what she wants to do. I wasn't preaching for her at all. I didn't even say anything to her. But she wasn't happy that I was cooking meat in the house. Well, it's not your house. Get out of my house. It's as simple as that. I know that sounds very petty, but that's just life. And where was I? Yes, train of thought here. So I'm only eating once a day. So basically I've got a 23-hour cycle of fasting. Okay, it's not keto, it's fasting. Okay, fasting comes from some of the oldest cultures in history. The Greek culture, which I'm part of, the Indian culture, Asian culture. We've done fasting for millennia. Okay, so it's not keto nothing, right? Oh, another one of the important things when you're going through this process, if anyone does decide to go through this process, okay, I'll just give you a couple of warnings. First of all, in the beginning, you're going to feel bad, more than likely. You'll get over that because your metabolism's kicking out all the toxins and all the oxalates. Do yourself a favor, which is what I did. Just the first couple of weeks, I got some electrolytes, and it's like minerals and salts and whatever that you can put inside water, and just put them in your water, and you'll be fine. You'll feel fantastic because you've got to replenish your electrolytes that you're losing because you're not taking your carbs. After a couple of weeks, you stop that. I don't need to do that anymore. I'm now salting my meat quite heavily, a lot of salt, and I don't have blood pressure problems. I've got a huge amount of fat on the meat because I'm enjoying the fat. I'm going to butcheries and I'm getting like extra fat that I want, and then I'll render it down and I have my own tallow that I can use. And I'm also experimenting with different recipes, mince and lamb and, different types of steaks. But I must admit, my favorite and the best thing that I feel the best in, and every day that I feel the best at, is a ribeye steak. A beautiful, thick, succulent ribeye steak. I don't think anything can beat that. Truly, I've tried all cuts of meats. The meats that I did stop, of course, are all chicken and pork. I mean, there's no way I'm going to have that, and there's no way I'm going to have fish as well. And I used to love those, okay? I now have stuck to the ruminant meats, which are lamb and beef, and specifically ribeye, purely because a cow, a goat, a lamb, basically it's ruminant meat, so they have got like more than one stomach. So they've got 3 stomachs to 4 stomachs. So when they're eating all the grass and grass-fed and all that, and they're going through all the toxins, the toxins move from one stomach to another and they get cleaned. So by the time they go into the actual animal, they're 100% clean nutrients. So by the way, those of you who are vegan, vegetarian, and all that, and you think you're getting all your nutrients, you've been lied to. The most densely populated or rich food in nutrients, minerals, vitamins, hormones that are great for you is and always will be red meat. Specifically, red meat. Yes, you can have a little bit of lamb, absolutely, why not? And those of you who are pescatarians and you're living by the ocean and you're eating fish and whatever, that's fine because your body has adjusted, towards that. But the biggest killer is your carbs, vegetables, fruits, sugars. Takeaways. I cancelled my takeaway company apps. I deleted them. I cancelled all my applications that I use for buying food online. I cancelled the buying of a huge amount of vegetables and carbs and all that. And I thought to myself in the beginning, my goodness gracious me, how am I going to afford to eat steaks every day? Here's another thing that's happened. This is phase 7, I guess. I did a financial calculation as to how much I was spending 3 months prior to doing this, just roughly, compared to now what I've spent in the last 50 days. So I took 50 days before and 50 days after, and I compared the amount of money I spent. And by the way, I've reduced my bills for food intake by exactly half. And I'm eating the best steaks possible and the ultimate food possible because I'm no longer spending on all the other crap that I was buying. I thought I would have to spend more money doing this, but it's actually worked out cheaper for me, which is, wow, another bonus. Excellent. So, has anything else changed? Absolutely. I used to have problems with gout on my foot, and it was uric acid, and it was just, sometimes it would just blow my foot out. Haven't had that for 50 days. It's all gone. I've had problems where I've had neck issues and problems with sleeping and that. I don't have problems anymore like that. Here's another cool thing. I've done this in the last 5 days, 6 days. I put my phone next to me and I had it on recording of audio the entire night, obviously plugged in so it wouldn't run out of battery. And I was recording myself just to see what happens. Am I tossing and turning at night? And because I was watching more videos from Dr. Berry and Dr. Chaffee and from Kerry from Homestead, and I was like, okay, I got to try this out. So I recorded myself. I no longer snore, and I was a prolific snorer, like a rocket. You know, I don't snore. Apparently, according to the audio intake, the recording throughout the whole night, I don't snore. I'm like silent as a whisper. It's like, wow. Any new girlfriend that comes along is gonna love me because I don't snore. She can be right next to me, no problem. Sleep well. So that's pretty cool. It's fantastic. And here's something really interesting. Before I started doing this is my phase 8, I guess, in a way. Before I started doing this, I went through something really annoying. Not just, traumatic with my burn. That was one thing. But 2 months prior to that, I went through this crazy thing where under my armpits, okay, I started to develop really intense boils. And to the point where it was not just painful, that I couldn't put my hands down. I was always doing this. And it was so painful because obviously I'd have to shave the hair off and sort of try and deal with it. And I went to doctors so many times, and all they wanted to do is cut into it and draw it out. I was like, no, I don't want to have anything cutting me. And at that time when I was having these boils under my arms, I could see there was a definite odor. There was a tinge of odor. It was a terrible odor that I was having under my armpits, and there was no deodorant that could handle it. Not even washing 3 times a day, and no deodorant could handle it. I was truly embarrassed by this. I'm not embarrassed by it now because I need to tell people about this. This is what happens when you eat too many vegetables and too many sugars and carbohydrates and chocolates and all that nonsense. Potatoes and rice and vegetables and fruits. No, no. They're not like they used to be. If you have your own farm and you're growing your own crops and you're not using fertilizer, go ahead, because you're eating the right vegetables. Just do it in minimal. Uptake your meat and then drop your carbohydrates, drop your vegetables and your roots and your root foods and nuts and fruits. But just uptake your food because you're making your own vegetables. So that's fine. Just don't just assume that what you're buying in the supermarkets are good for you. Anyway, so I had these boils and it was terrible. I don't know what was worse, my burn in my hand or these boils. Now, I knew that the burn in the hand would heal, but I didn't know that this would work. Under the armpits, it was terrible. I was like, we're not happy about this. And I was like, what's going on now? At the age of 50, because I turned 50 on 27th of October last year, am I going to spend my 50s going through all this trouble, going through all this pain, going through all this nonsense, every little thing starting to happen to me? I was like, my goodness gracious me, I've heard of these things happening, but why so soon? Anyway, I've been going through this 50 days. Not only have the boils gone, and by the way, while I was eating the meat through the weeks, having the burn having the burn on my hand, I was also trying to heal my armpits here. I just didn't tell any nurses or doctors at the time that I was doing that because I was only concerned about the burn. Anyway, and I was putting a pad on, plaster every day, having the necessary medication, whatever for it. And really, at the end of the day, I stopped all that. And then as soon as I started eating meat, I just said, no, I'm going to stop all this. And immediately within, like halfway to the 50 days, within 25 days, the odor disappeared under my armpits as well. The boils reduced right down to just a small amount. Because they were breaking, and it was, not just bleeding, but it had, obviously pus inside. So it was terrible. That went away, and it was almost finished. And then the last 25 days, it's completely gone. It's healed completely. There's not even a scar underneath the 2 armpits. And here's the best part. There's no odor anymore. And with the last 50 days that I've been doing this lion diet under the carnivore diet, I've noticed something else that's pretty dramatic. My body odor has changed. I don't need to use any kind of antiperspirant or cologne or anything like that. I mean, I do sometimes use a little bit of cologne, but I don't use antiperspirant anymore because underneath my armpits I actually don't smell at all. Like, I could sweat right now and it wouldn't smell bad. It smells my natural body. There's no bad odor, which is crazy because even when I was a dancer at the age of 18 to 21, I would sweat like hell. You know, I would wear 3 shirts in one session basically, and which is 1 hour to 2 hour sessions. And yeah, I'd sweat and I would smell underneath like any man does. If you're a man and you don't have hair or whatever, then of course you might smell less. But at the same time, you know, you put deodorant, antiperspirant, you finally deal with it. I don't even wear antiperspirant. So, I know this is a long video, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight. So this is what I did through this process. While I was going through these last 50 days, and yes, losing 50 pounds over 50 days at the age of 50, I got rid of everything in my cupboards, all the spices, the only thing that I have is red pink sea salt, which is 100% salt from the Himalayas. I might change that in the future. I don't have any carbs in my cupboards. I've got no vegetables, no fruits. My fridge is completely full with meat. I don't have anything else. It looks kind of weird, but it's true. And I feel absolutely fantastic at the age of 50. You can look at my past videos, go all the way back to 2 years. If you like, look back at 6 months ago, 7 months ago. You'll see I was really puffed up, really big. You can see from the thumbnail, and I was quite big. And for my height, 1.74, which is I'm 5'8", I had reached a kilogram weight of 140 kilograms. I was always a very big guy because I used to play rugby, so a lot of it is still muscle underneath. And I'm now, well, I'm over 50 pounds that I've lost. I'm just making this video a little bit late, but I'm now 115 kilos. So the last 15 kilos that I have is going to take the next 1 or 2 weeks and it's going to go away. And I'm measuring every single day how much I'm losing, and it's roughly between 500 and 600 grams a day. And here's the funny thing. People, this is crazy. All right? In the last 50 days, because of this hand, because I've not been able to go out and do any kind of major exercising, I haven't done a single stitch of exercises. And I mean exercises you would do in a gymnasium or a workout session or a run or a cycle or picking up weights or sitting on a treadmill. I've done none of that stuff. None. Zero. All I've done is gone for a walk every second to third day for about 2 miles. Because I can now. 2 to 3 miles. So I walk from here all the way down to the beach and then all the way down to the other little mountain area and then come back again. I've never been able to do that easily just by going back and coming back without being breathless and without stopping 100 times. I'm now able to nearly closely run that whole distance back and forward. And I'm just blown away because now the dressing is off my hand. I'm able to do even more exercises. I'm now going to hit the gym and I'm going to get a lot fitter. So the results I'm going to receive in the next 50 days are going to be exponential results because now I'm able to truly harness what I'm doing with this. It's not a diet. You know, we call it a diet, the carnivore diet, the lion diet. No, it's not. It's just the ultimate and healthiest way to eat. Plain and simple. And when it comes time for you to realize it, and I really hope it doesn't, but you're going to start to feel bad in your life. You're going to start to feel terrible. You're going to start to feel like you need to get healthier. You got a lot of chronic problems. You have weight loss issues. Because, you know, I've yo-yoed with weight loss up and down. I've done ketos. I've done vegan. I've done vegetarian. I've done pescatarian. God damn it. I've done almost everything. Atkins and all the others. And, you know, they worked and they didn't work. They worked and they didn't work. So I was like, oh, man. This thing is not a diet. I'm eating a huge amount of meat. It's close to 1 kilogram of meat a day. I'm about 750 grams of meat a day, roughly. And another 200 grams to 250 grams of fat. I know it sounds insane, eh? You know, when I listen to myself talking like this, I sound crazy. I truly sound crazy because I never would have thought this would work. I'm a massive cynic, and not cynic, but I'm not cynical, but I'm like skeptic. Sorry, cynical's wrong. I'm a skeptic with everything in life. I have to question everything, and I just when I say that I only eat red meat, butter occasionally, in fat, and salt, and then water, people freak out. Here's the best part: I don't have to think about the meal I gotta prepare for the 3 meals I gotta do for the day. I just pull out a steak, cook it, done, sorted. And I've even learned how to use an air fryer properly, so I can make steaks incredibly well with the air fryers. It's all about temperature and timing, and you gotta time it right. I've eaten at least 20 bad steaks, and from then onwards, I knew exactly what to do with the air fryer. I'm now back into cooking as well, and using the oven as well for cooking, and I've done great broths as well with bones and all that, just because I wanted to have some extra broth in sometimes making a soup version of meat rather than just having a steak. And I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. And I know, all my friends that have seen me and my colleagues and my family members, they're freaked out. They love my results, but they're always saying, oh, but you got to be careful, because if you don't have vegetables, you might get cholesterol and whatever. No, you're not. You're going to get good cholesterol. I've researched this. I'm done with vegetables. I'm done with fruits. On occasion, when it comes down to one day, I may have 1 or 2 fruits just because it's a nice delicacy. Maybe once in a month I'll have that. Not now. In about a year. I'm not interested because I don't need it. My body doesn't need it. I feel so good now. I'm eating so well with just one massive meal, steaks a day. I don't need that much sleep a day. I'm only sleeping 5 hours a day. Yes, I should sleep 7 hours, but I don't need to, because I get up and I'm up and running and I want to get up and do things. So I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day. That's why a lot of people ask me, how do you get so much done? You are an information security professional. You're a digital forensics professional. You are a computer programmer. You're a network guy. You're a consultant. You're an instructor for security courses. You build your own courses. You are a professional photographer. You're an author. You're a writer. You write kids' books. You write short novels. You make YouTube videos. How do you have all that energy? Well, because I'm on a lion diet, carnivore diet, and I can eat the best meal in the world. And I feel brilliant. Now, if you had to pay me, and I'm not joking about this, anyone can come to me and say to me, and this is crazy. I can't believe I'm saying this. I know it sounds crazy. You can pay me $1 million today. I will never go back to the way I used to eat. And I'll tell you why. Health and time are your only 2 currencies that you have in your life. The only 2 things that you're going to run out of, irrespectively of no matter how much insurance you put against it. You're going to run out of time in your life, because we only have a finite amount of time to live on this planet. I'm going to continue this diet because I want to go past 100. I don't have the stress that many people do. I'm going to make it. And many people at the age of 80 and 90 have been doing this whole lion and carnivore diet for 30 years in their lives, and they look fantastic. Some of those YouTube videos that I've seen a lady of 85 years old, and she's been a carnivore for 20 years, right? She started at like 65 something. She looks 50, for goodness sake. She doesn't even look 85. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's riding a bike, and she's going climbing up a hill, and she's doing swimming. And I'm like, my goodness gracious me, you're 85 years old. And I was like, I messaged her, and she says to me, I feel fantastic. I can do everything that I need to do, and I'm better than what I felt like when I was younger. I was like, yep, I want to be like that, 100%. I want to have longevity in life. And the other currency you have is your health. If you don't fix your health, because believe me, at some point in time, health does degrade. It's going to happen. It's called time, right? Time goes against everything. So your health is the most important thing in your life. Then comes your family, then your friends, then comes work. You've got to get your priorities right. My priorities were upside down. My priorities were work first, friends, family, occasionally the right types of foods, and then my health was probably the last thing, and exercise was the last thing. So Do some form of walking every day. You don't have to do anything crazy. Get into a proper eating routine. Eat good food, not carbs, not vegetables, not fruits. I'm not saying you should do it. I'm saying to you, just a small challenge. What's the worst that can happen to you? What would you lose if you tried this for 30 days? What, you're going to lose 30 days? You're going to save some money. Yeah. You're going to miss your carbs, potentially. You're going to not eat chocolates and vegetables and sugars and all that, so you're going to have cravings, potentially. But you have that already anyway. If you're eating that way, you eating 3 times a day, you're constantly having to think about what kind of meals you're going to plan. You're worried about when you go out, what kind of food you're going to have, where you're going to go eat with your friends, your family. You're always worried and counting calories. Oh, this calorie count is absolute. It's obnoxiously, idiotically stupid. Because calories mean nothing. Calorie is the measurement of the burning of energy. That's bull, okay? What you must measure in is the way you feel and the way you look. And sometimes the way when you weigh yourself on a scale. Sometimes depends on what you want to do. That's how you do it. So what's the worst that can happen? You're going to try this for 30 days as a challenge. I challenge you. If you don't feel, you're going to go through difficulties. You're going to go through your cravings. You're going to go through the possibility of feeling bad and detoxing. Fine, go through that. I challenge you to do this for 30 days. If you don't feel better in 30 days, stop it. But at the same time, if you don't feel better, tell me. Tell me you don't feel better. Tell me that if you don't improve by 1%, it's an amazing thing. Do you know that if you improve by 1% every day of your life, that's a 365% increase and improvement over 1 year. Let's say you only improve once a week. And you only improve 1% every week of the year. At the end of the year, you are 52% better than you were last year. It's mathematics. It's a very simple thing. So what's the worst that can happen? You're going to lose 30 days, but you might feel amazing. Something that you're going through might disappear altogether, and you might be able to overcome it. I've heard of people online doing a lion and a carnivore diet where they've God, goodness gracious me, the reverse blindness. People are going through cancer treatments and they're going through chemotherapy because they have to. It's a very aggressive cancer, for example. And they're going through chemotherapy, but they're going through and they're eating the lion diet. And that's keeping them going. And they haven't died yet. They were diagnosed to die 2 years earlier, but because they've been doing carnivore for 2 years, they're still around and they look fantastic and they're running a freaking marathon while doing chemotherapy. And they're not going through all the withdrawals after chemotherapy because they're eating a proper diet. I mean, listen, don't believe and listen to me. Don't. I'm just telling you my story. Believe me or not, I don't care. I don't mind and I don't care because these results are my results. They are my results. They're maybe not your results. Your results will be different. Some of them will be the same, but mostly different because every human being in this planet is completely unique and special. Treat yourself that way. Treat yourself uniquely and special. Get healthier. Buy the time back for yourself that you've lost over so many years that you've done this, that you've eaten badly. Don't cut out meat altogether. Do it in stages. Follow the beef and butter gal that's on YouTube. She's fantastic. She shows you to progressively go through this, right? There's an entire group. There's a whole lot of groups on Facebook and all the companies that you can work with people. Let them be your mentors. Let them help you go through this. I didn't either. I'm very, very heavily strong-minded, and I just went all in like a crazy maniac. But you know what? It would have been nice to be part of the group now that I think about it, because my results would have been much better now. Try it for 30 days. See what happens for yourself. I mean, you'd be surprised at what happens to you. You'll be honestly, truly shocked. And I'm loving the way I feel. I feel better than I felt when I was a dancer. I'm not as fit as I was when I was a dancer. No, I mean, that's kind of crazy to think that, but 20 years old compared to 50, of course not, but I feel great. And if I continue on this path and the way I've calculated it, by the end of this year, well, I've put myself a target. 27th of October 2024, when I turn 51 years old, I want to be as close as I was when I was 21, when I was a dancer. Because at that time, I was a Latin American dancer and a rugby player. I had a six-pack. For many, many years, I've had a one-pack. I'm going to get that six-pack back. I'm going to look even better. I'm going to be even feeling better. But here's the best part. I'm going to feel better at a better time of my life. All because I tried something that is so crazy, so full of skepticism, that I never thought would ever work. But it proved a point to me because it made me heal almost 100%. Because I don't have any pain or anything like that. This is pretty cool, It's just skin recovering. I recovered something. Well, I recovered over something that I wasn't. It wasn't planned for me to recover within, earlier than 6 months, but I've recovered within 50 days. I call this recovery. It's a little bit of, redness and whatever. Over time, the next couple of weeks, maybe to 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even 5 weeks, it'll recover completely. But it won't be 6 months. So by the end of the 27th of October this year, my challenge is I need to be as fit as I was, or close to as fit as I was when I was 20. But more importantly, I want to feel better and better and better. I want to have as many things that I can do in life as possible, and have the inclination to go out and do things and just enjoy life once again the way everyone should truly enjoy their lives. So I challenge you. 30 days. Try it out. And go and watch. Don't believe me, crazy old me. Go and watch Dr. Berry. Look it up. Go and watch Dr. Chaffee. Go and watch Carey from Homestead, from Healing Humanity. He's doing a documentary for Netflix, for goodness sake. Okay? Don't believe me. Believe the guys that have done this for a year, that have done it for 2 years, that have done it for 3 years, that have done it for 50 years. Sorry, I'm being crazy. For 30 years. Okay? Go listen to them. They are the proof in the pudding. Me, I did this as an experiment, and my goodness gracious me, it worked for me. And you know what? I'm going to be one of those people in the world that's going to enjoy life, irrespective of all the difficulties that come through, because I know that the food intake that I'm taking is not because I truly want to enjoy my food. Because I'm South African, I love my red meat anyway, so it's cool for me that I'm enjoying this. Because if someone had to say to me, you only have to eat vegetables all your life and you can't have meat, I'd be highly, seriously depressed. Okay? The fact that I enjoy my meat anyway is great for me, because now I'm eating the ultimate food, steaks. How can you say no to a steak? And I'm getting healthier, I'm losing weight, I feel fantastic, I feel I can do so much more. What else must I say? I only have one thing to say. Thank you to the Lord Almighty for pointing me in the direction of these people on YouTube that have shown me how to get my life back. Because I was truly worried. Really, really worried. I've always been a happy person, but I was truly getting worried underneath, and I was borderline depressed. I've had a number of breakdowns in the past for no reason whatsoever. I'd break down into tears, and I was feeling that I was going through a depression stage. I've never had to go to a psychologist for this, but I was feeling it, and it was all because I wasn't able to overcome the difficulties that I was trying to get through in life. I was doing successfully well in everything else. Everything. Finance, work, family, everything. Except my health. I've flipped the whole thing around doing this. For the last 50 days, I got myself back. I feel amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I have one thing to say. Sorry. Back to this, I digressed again. Because I love talking, I'm an instructor, sorry. Dr. Carey? Carey from Homestead. I called you a doctor, sorry, man. You are a doctor to me. You're my doctor, man. If you're watching this, you become my doctor. Do you know how cool that is? I am in awe of you, man. You know, If it wasn't for you and Dr. Berry and Dr. Chaffee, I would have probably got myself to an early grave. I wouldn't have reached my young 50s. No, not at the rate I was going at. As healthy as I was, being fat and that. And I mean fat as in I wasn't looking after myself, you know. And I didn't need to be. You know, I've been through an exceptionally difficult marriage when I was young, and I went through a divorce. It's a long story. Just didn't work out. And I moved to a different country. I ran a number of businesses, lost all those businesses, continued pushing through life, gained a lot of weight along in the process, lost my father, went through more process, more difficulties, had my mom go through 5 surgeries. God bless her. She's so damn strong as a woman. I'm blown away by her strength. And I wish I could push her closer to what I'm doing when it comes to food. But eventually she'll come around. She's still around. She's 78 years old and she's still kicking butt. And I will have her here from South Africa. I'm moving her here to the UK because I want her to be near me. I've been through a lot of things, difficulties in life. I'm single again. I haven't been married again. I don't need to get that. If I ever find another woman in my life, she's going to have to think the way I do. She's going to have to appreciate herself and me in the relationship. But that can come later. I'm not worried. More importantly, though, been through a lot of things in life. Maybe not as difficult as many other people. Maybe not. But this burn in my hand truly opened my eyes and pushed me towards this. And God sort of pushed me towards Dr. Chaffee, Dr. Berry, and Carey from Homestead, which is the healing humanity that he's doing at the moment. And Carey, seriously, man, you're a doctor to me. So if you're watching this, thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Carey. Thank you, Dr. Chaffee. Thank you, Dr. Berry. Steak and butter gal, well done, girl. Everyone online, I can't remember all your names. All of you who have gone through the carnivore diet and are in it at the moment, and you just have got incredible results. Those of you gone through some really, really, really difficult times, and you're still doing the carnivore diet or the lion diet. I am in awe of you. You guys are my heroes. And I mean, apart from my mom, who's my hero, and my little sister, you guys are my heroes, because you're setting an example in the world, not just because someone has done a white paper and they've put together a survey, and that survey's been paid by pharmaceutical companies, and you know what? Oh, we have to believe it. No. Proof is in the pudding, not in the writing of the recipe. You can change the recipe and have a great pudding at the end, right? That's where the proof is. You've shown it with not just what you talk about on YouTube, not what the carnivore diet is and the lion diet is, and how important it is for the body for millennia, as long as we can go back in history and see how far mankind's gone back. Mankind only started to develop a brain because of eating meat. Look it up. This is a historical fact. I'm not talking trash at you. So, thank you to everyone for allowing me to get myself back at the age of 50. I took my time, I took my time, sorry. But you know what? I'm back. And I'm back with a vengeance. Truly, truly back. My name's Demetrius from Obi Pixel today, and just talking about something really personal to me. In a way, I'm confessing. But I'm also hoping that whoever tries to change their health by going into the carnivore diet and using potentially the brute force, which is what I've done, into the lion diet, which I'm actually thoroughly enjoying because I'm an all or nothing person. I wish you well. If you need help and assistance, there are many groups online that can assist you. You want to talk to me directly and ask me questions, I am more than willing to help out. I will answer any emails. I will answer any messages. My details will be in the description. Please, talk to me. I'm going through this. I'm not at the end of my cycle. I'm going through this. I'm feeling all these changes. I'm seeing all these changes. They are actually happening to me. I'm more than happy to assist. And I am going to create a website. I've already purchased the domain It's called meetmindfit.com. There's nothing there at the moment. Meat, mind, fit. Because I feel that those are the phases roughly that I've gone through. I've started eating meat properly. It started to fix my mind and my body. And now I'm getting into my next cycle, which is pushing that to the next level and getting fitter. And I believe that has to be done in those 3 stages. Yes, in the beginning you make the decisions and you make your mind up, and it's part of that process. But that's the website I'm going to have. I might also purchase a couple of other domains to push towards it, but that's what it's going to be like. And then on that website, I'm going to have my entire roadmap of what's happened, my photographs through this process, videos that I'm going to make around this, because there'll be different videos around this. And yes, and I'll put them into this channel. You know what? I honestly don't really care about YouTube algorithms and that. I care about my content and if people like them and that they like the content. And if I have to later move these videos out to a separate channel, I may do this, but I'll put it under my own channel because this is me. I don't need another persona. My name's Demetrius Zakharopoulos. That's who I am. Yes, I run a company called Obi Pixel. Yes, I do so many things in my life. Not because, I can't make it in anything. I've made it in every single one of them. I'm successful in every single venture I've taken on board. But I wasn't successful in my fitness. I was when I was younger. But that's naturally, when you're younger, you do lots of stuff anyway. I wasn't for the rest of my adult career and my adult life. I am going to be now, because at the age of 50, not only have I lost 50 pounds as in weight, which is 23 to 24 kilograms and more, but I've done it in 50 days, and I've shocked myself in doing this. And I'm absolutely 100% grateful to God and everyone who's giving me the videos that I've watched, the insights into everything so I could do my own research, the ability to have the strength while I'm going through a crazy time to try and recover a burn, to do a diet like this at the same time, to eat like this at the same time, thinking, my goodness gracious me, I'm going through this and at the same time doing this. There's 2 extremes. And halfway through this, I say halfway because afterwards, once I get to the end of this, I'll be just maintaining. Halfway through this, I'm feeling amazing and I've got such incredible results already. I am so thankful. So thankful. Once again, Demetrius Zakharopoulos here from Obi Pixel. Thank you for your time today and listening to me. I know it's been a long video. If you didn't watch it all the way to the end, no worries. If you did watch it all the way to the end, thank you. If it made any sense, great. If it didn't make any sense for you, no worries. Walk away and go into another video. If you want to learn more, the details of all these other channels that I watch will be inside the description. Dr. Chaffee, Dr. Berry, Kerry from Homestead, Steak and Butter Gal, they'll all be there. And you know what? Don't listen to me. Do it for yourself. Challenge yourself. 30 days. Try it out. See what happens. Whether you're a beginner in this, whether you're someone who's already been working out in the gym for many years, whether somebody is going through chronic illnesses, all that. Just try it. What's the worst that can happen? You're going to lose 30 days of your life. You've already grown up how many years in your life? What is another 30 days of a slight change in the way you eat to eating incredibly good food? How can you go wrong? And at the same time, those of you who are vegan and vegetarian, think about it carefully. Contemplate what's happening. I know you may have a moral compass and may not want to do that because of why we're killing animals or whatever. Yeah, but if you really do your research, truly don't listen to the industry. Do your own research. Don't listen to the TV. Don't listen to dietitians and doctors. Do your own research. You'll find out that being a vegetarian or vegan and only eating those particular types of foods, the amount of carnage, the amount of things that die, the way the world is dying, the way the ground is dying, the soil is dying, the amount of killing that's going on because of the way you want to eat is far worse than you imagine. It's so much more worse than just being a carnivore diet and eating a healthy diet with animals that are relaxed in the countryside, eating grass, enjoying their lives, and then ultimately we're going to end up having the ultimate food in life: red meat. Thank you, everyone. It's Demetrius here from Every Pixel. Please subscribe to my channel if you're interested. I like to build my channel as much as I can one day so I can get monetized. It'd be nice so I can have more time to myself, pumping that money back into the business so I can make these videos and have more time to make free content for you across all the different disciplines that I work with, including now a new career that I'm going to have on top of my other 5 careers, which will be the carnivore and line diet, mind over matter, and fitness. In other words, health. Because I have to, and I want to, and I should. Because if I can even help one person doing this, I'm done. Just like how I enjoy my training and I teach people, and if I can help one person, it makes me feel amazing. If I can help one person with what I've gone through, and they can go through it, I'll be a joyous person. Signing out.